was like,
oh, that is really
I
funny.
should do it. The bolt's not for you.
Oh, those are really funny stories. You can do a whole stand-up bit on how your kid doesn't quite get Halloween.
He's definitely a comedian.
That's so funny.
Keeps it interesting, to say the least.
Charlie.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live.
Big C, I always talk about Charlie when I make reference to anything athletic in my life. And when he was the bane of my existence for 6 weeks while I was studying for my recertification. But this is Charlie. Charlie runs the Arena, which is a whole like gym, wellness, insane, awesome, huge, beautiful gym, I guess. Would you call it a gym?
Well,
or
it'll be a wellness center if I ever get my permit from the last inspector.
Sure, that up in White Plains, New York. Is it open right now still?
It's open. The wellness center's built. I'm just waiting for the fire inspector.
What is that guy doing?
We're not going to talk about it on air.
Let's not talk about it on air. Yeah, no, I want
He's doing a great job, right?
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. We love that guy.
Earth 2.
Earth 2. Come help Charlie. So I met Charlie a couple months ago, and he said, you know, let's get recertified. And I said, sure, why not? And then I basically changed who I was as a human. Like I turned into from a normal person to like a crazy nerd. Like I had my little nerd glasses on, and every day I was like, meh. And I was like studying and asking, and I studied like nobody's business. I really did. But you
did well in the test.
I have the attention span of a grapefruit, so my studying was like 2 minutes at a time, and then needed to rest. Thank you very much. What was all your guidance, and
I'll take credit.
You really helped me. Introduce yourself a little bit. Let's reset. Tell everybody sort of what you do and how you become as successful as you are.
All right, well, I own the Arena, formerly Pure, so we changed the name as per Lance.
Nice, Lance.
Lance didn't like the name, so
I couldn't remember it. Like, had a name. I'm working on there.
You couldn't remember Pure?
I couldn't. It was like Pure something and something. It was like, what was it?
Pure Fit Club.
Pure Fit Club.
Okay.
I couldn't remember it for the life of me.
All right.
So I made a change. It cost me about $7,000.
Yeah, of course. Wait,
but
are
it
you
was worth
offended
it.
if I put my sunglasses on?
No, I'm not offended at all.
I had to ask.
So,
Sweet.
my background, I used to own a wellness center in Greenwich.
For people that don't know, what's a wellness center?
Wellness center, we used to do chiropractic, acupuncture, nutritional counseling, blood work, everything.
Which reminds me, while we're on camera, the doctor that came, remember I had my blood taken and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't heard yet. Does that mean
takes
things
a couple
are really
of weeks.
bad?
You're still here.
I'm still here.
You're still here.
But it's been over 2 weeks and I got nervous.
It takes just around 2 weeks for them to get the blood back.
Okay.
And
I just want to make sure that
the gym's a complete disaster with the construction, so
let me tell you something.
That might add to it a little bit.
My only fear in life is giving blood. So the fact that I did this, if they lost my blood in all of that chaos there, you will be done, finished.
No,
right?
Don't put it on me.
It's on you.
It's on
Charlie.
me.
It is on.
Right.
I gotta tell you. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, you were describing a wellness center, and then I took you way off track.
Yeah. So I had a wellness sports medicine clinic before, and then I went back into the gym industry, and I opened up the gym Pure.
Yeah.
I took it from a person who put it into bankruptcy, started it from scratch, rebuilt it, did everything. And I really liked the gym. I thought it had a lot of potential, and I just thought the person who ran it just really wasn't doing it right. So I thought I could do a better job. I have, but it's been a lot of work, to say the least. There's a lot more work than I anticipated, but it's fine. So finally now I found a doctor, Dr. Morley, who you met, and I brought him in to do all the wellness because that's what's been missing from my brand. Because when I separated from my old partner, I no longer had a doctor, but now I remedied that.
Not only is Dr. Morley obviously very well qualified and he's a great doctor, but my God, he looks just like Brad Pitt.
I saw your show. I was laughing.
I couldn't even look at him seriously. Every time he said something, I was like, I was in love with him. I literally was in love with the doctor. That's more why I'm waiting for him to call me back with the blood.
Maybe that's why he hasn't called you. Maybe he scared him off.
I'm sure. I stalked him a little bit. I called him 12 times. It's not that big of a deal.
Not a big deal, no.
Okay, so now you take over the Arena and turn it into the Arena.
Turn it into the arena. Create this now we just built a wellness center, so it's literally finished. I'm just waiting on the one permit because we're operating out of cubicles right now.
Yeah.
So I built nice rooms, and I also use the gym as my education center, which is really the focus of my business.
And what does that mean?
Certifying, training trainers, educating a trainer so they can become more advanced. And that's not just the trainers that work for me. It's trainers throughout the industry that are interested in advancing their knowledge.
Let me give you an example, because we could talk about this, but if you have any fitness question or any diet question whatsoever, Charlie knows it all. So I went to Charlie and I said, one of the questions I get from a lot of people that I also don't know, and you'll see basically how talented he is in a second when he answers this question, was, should I eat before I work out, right? I never know whether I should eat something or not. And I just figured he'd give me the same answer that half a dozen other people did. Some say, yeah, you want to have some carbs to give you some energy, right? That's the answer you always get. Or you want to have some carbs and some protein, or a little bit of fat. But Charlie was like, no. Let's break it down, and let me tell you what the answer is and then why the answer is. And once he said this, it became so clear to me. It literally like changed the way I approach it. And this is how and why everyone that works for Charlie, his entire staff, is so successful, so smart. He doesn't want to just get anyone that's certified to come in and train. Everyone that works in this place knows A to Z, your body, your anatomy, your nutrition, all of it. It's really, really remarkable. So I'm going to have you explain to me, because it's a question I always get. Anyone, it doesn't matter what level you are, do you eat before you work out?
No, I wrote an article on this because of you.
Thank you very much.
which is how this all started. So, based on the research, and I'll post the article again for people who want to read it. Based on all the research and just my experience, you need to have something before you exercise. Now, the argument a lot of people are going to make, trainers, I even hear this from still because they don't read anything science-based. So I hear from trainers, well, I burn more fat when I'm fasted.
Which means you have nothing in your system.
Because you have nothing in your system. So when you wake up in the morning and you go and work out, the argument is that your body has to take fat from storage, which really means you're using energy to get that fat out of storage, and then you use the fat for the energy.
Right.
That takes a lot more energy than the body just using, carbohydrates like it normally does, sugar. So what happens is when you're fasted like that, your body has no protein. So protein is not just for building muscle. Protein has to do with digestion, cell formation. There's a million things that protein has to do with. Hormone formation, most importantly. And what happens is protein cannot live in your body. We don't have stored protein.
We have to make it, or we have to eat it.
You have to eat it.
Yeah.
So the body does not make protein. There are amino acids that the body cannot make, so that you have to get them through your diet. I believe it's 9 essential amino acids. It's changed a couple of times, but I believe at this point it's 9. And if you don't take in those 9 essential, you don't have the building blocks that you need to create the muscle tissue you need, the muscle repair, the form.
Give me an example of a food that has amino acids.
So amino acids, let's say an easy one would be we take a steak. Now, steak is about 75% complete, which would mean if the steak was 100 grams of protein, 75 grams of that's going to be complete, roughly, Now, eggs are more complete. They're in the 90s. Now,
is that the most?
That's pretty much one of the most absorbable foods. People will argue dairy, but I'll argue that dairy's not really natural. We're not meant to eat dairy.
Okay, so eggs are pretty much the best form of
And I don't
protein
really
you can get.
consider eggs dairy.
I don't.
I don't really, because
Right.
animals eat eggs. Animals don't drink milk unless it's in their birthing period. So basically, the way I explain to people is, look, you want to maintain that thermogenic fat burning effect of being fasted, but not at the expense of bottoming out your hormones and spiking your cortisol levels, which are going to burn muscle. Because what happens is the body, if it needs protein for any kind of function, it's going to burn muscle. So that becomes counterproductive. So you're telling me you're burning more fat, but at the expense of burning muscle. Well, yeah, I'm burning more fat for the hour I work out, but I'm burning muscle, which burns calories my entire life.
Right.
So, yeah, you burn more calories short term, but not long term. It's really about burning the calories after exercise and your recovery that's really going to make you burn the most calories.
So what does all this mean? It means that before you work out, how soon before you start working out should you
So
have
you want a
what?
complete protein. So let me finish my thought on the steak, because I lost track on that. So a steak is 70% protein. An egg might be more, but you might get someone who's vegetarian or vegan that doesn't want the animal proteins. Now, the problem with that is you really have to be educated. And most of the people that practice that type of eating go by what they read in the magazine. It's just like working out. They read a magazine, they think they know. You got to go by the science. There are very few vegans that I've worked with that actually know exactly what they're doing. You have to have complete proteins. Rice, they'll tell me is a protein. Beans is a protein. And they'll say to me, yeah, I get my protein from that. No, you don't, because it's not complete. Rice has only got maybe half the amino acids. Beans has the other half. If you put them together, now you have a complete protein. Quinoa, hemp are complete proteins. So I tell my vegetarian and vegan clients, go towards that because those are the complete proteins. Chia, there are some other ones, but you really have to be educated on it. It's not something that you just know or even going to read in a magazine, because half the stuff you read in these magazines, it's just, they're selling magazines. They don't care. It's just what sells. It's not what's always right. And it's an issue. So what I tell people is, you want to maintain that thermogenic effect without bottoming out your hormones. So let's get the best of both worlds. The way to do that is a very small amount of straight protein. Now, the way to do that would be, there's egg whites you could have, like if you eat like an egg white. If you have, there's like an egg supplement that I use called, I can't remember the name of it, but it's an egg protein. And it's pasteurized and everything, so you can have basically raw egg whites without having to make a shake.
Okay.
Now, I recommend a shake in the morning, but the problem with a shake is if you're making with almond milk or anything heavy, it's not easily digestible. It's going to kind of sit like lead in your stomach.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is a protein shake that is only protein, no carbs, no nothing. Mix it with a little bit of water. Really no more than like 10 to 15 grams of protein. It's just enough. You're just balancing so that you don't burn muscle off. That's all it's for. And everybody's different. So if you're going to go and do a hardcore weight training session, you need a little bit more protein than if you're going to go out and do cardio. And what that does is it maintains the thermogenic burning effect of burning the extra calories from fat, but you're not bottoming out your hormones.
So you should have about 10 to 15 grams of protein before you start working out.
And everybody's different, the body, everybody's different, and what one person might only need 10 grams, another person might need a little bit more. You'll know how you feel.
Right.
If you do 15 grams and you feel you got nauseous, your stomach hurts, well, that's too much for you, or maybe you need a different source of protein.
Okay.
If you have 10 or 15 grams of protein, but you still smell like ammonia, that's the first sign. When you smell ammonia, it's people burning muscle, or they drink too much. So.
Really?
And you'll know, I'm sure you've been in classes where you smell that burning ammonia. That's people sweating their muscle out, basically, because they're catabolic. Because the side effect of burning muscle is ammonia.
Wow, that's
which makes you acidic, which is a whole nother host of problems.
Yeah, so just do what Charlie says.
That's and like I said, it's very individual.
So then Charlie said to have steak in the morning?
So
No
Charlie
steak.
said to have
We don't want
100 grams of steak first thing in the morning.
That's the first thing.
What about after you work out? And Lance, jump in, just interrupt me if anyone has questions or comments. After
you work out, now there's a lot of debate on the science of having a protein shake right away. Does it really work? Here's my argument to that. After you work out, you've destroyed your body if you've trained the right way. You depleted of everything. Wouldn't it make sense to take something easily digestible as fast as possible?
Yeah.
So a lot of it, let's go by common sense and what feels good. When I was a hardcore powerlifter, if I missed my protein shake and my carb load after I worked out and my high protein, I didn't feel good the next day. I don't care what the book says. When you're lifting heavy weights, there's no margin for error. So there's a lot of things that I've read in muscle magazines that I actually tried, and I'm like, there's no way this works. It doesn't work for me.
Right.
Because once you get to a certain point when you're training very hard, there's a very small margin of error. Like, you're going to feel like, if I do something wrong on Tuesday, when I train Wednesday, I'm going to feel like trash. If I wasn't training to try to compete, I wouldn't notice it as much because you're not going to be as intense.
Right.
So it's, the more intense you are, the less margin for error there is.
But what about someone that's not bodybuilding, like someone that just is going to the gym to do a regular workout?
So you still want to have the protein, you just don't need as much. So that person would maybe be more like, let's say if you said to me, hey, I'm going for a quick workout this morning, I'm not going to kill myself, I want to do like a quick jog, a couple of push-ups, a little exercising for...
Couple of push-ups, a little exercise, couple of...
Maybe 45 minutes,
45
nothing
minutes
hard,
or
moderate, heart rate, medium, I'm not trying to kill myself. You can get away with, 10 grams of protein.
And what does that look like? Half a can of tuna?
It's not. It's like 7 grams, 6 grams is an egg white.
Oh, really?
So, yes, it's about 6 grams, depending on the size of the egg.
Okay.
So if you had like an egg white and a half, you could do that. Or if you had like, there's certain protein shakes. I know one of them I use is IsoPure. It's only protein. It's a powder. And they also have one that's ready made. It tastes like cough medicine, but it's very light. And it's just straight protein. You could drink a shot of that. Just enough protein to stop the body from burning muscle.
Right.
That's the idea, because the more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism is. And I hear a lot from women, I don't want to get big, bulky muscle. You have nothing to worry about. It's not happening.
What?
The women you see on TV with all the big, bulky muscle.
How hard do they work, and what are they putting in?
It's drugs. It's just no other way to put it. 99% of it's drugs. There's always going to be an exception. There's always a freak of nature. But anyone who sits here and tells you there's no steroids and bodybuilding and all that, they're full of it. And that's just fact.
So if I sit and start lifting weights, even if they're 5 pounds, 8 pounds, I'm not.
You're not going to get big like that. It's
right.
It's also genetic. So some women might be a little more prone to putting on more size, but it's not. I mean, listen, you've been doing plyometrics and working out for how long? Do you look like a big meathead?
No.
No, and you work out pretty hard.
Yes.
So there you go. You look lean. You look fit.
Yes.
So that's look how much you work out. So if what everybody thinks were true, you look like a cartoon character.
Right. You're right.
So that's
I
how you
did some
gotta look
handstand
at it.
push-ups yesterday. Remember, Lance?
I did, yeah. I actually tried to do one yesterday.
And
I went to Burger King this morning with my daughter.
I had a guy tell me he saw me in the gym. He's like, I want to try to do that. I was like, all right. So I explained how to get up into a handstand, and he didn't keep his arms straight. I'm like, I would think that's not something I need to tell you, that your arms need to be straight for the handstand. And he came down on his neck, and it was all like weird, and he felt awkward, and he just walked out of the gym. I was like,
hard.
I guess I need to be very honest with you. So kick
It's a
your
very
legs up
hard
and keep
movement.
your arms straight.
It's
it is?
very hard. Yeah.
The handstand is a hard
Absolutely.
movement? What else is a hard movement? I want to do all the hard movements.
Handstands are really hard.
A handstand push-up I
A
did.
handstand push-up is super hard.
Do you want to show us again?
No, it's okay.
Sure.
We believe you.
He believes me.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
So
I did pull-ups the other day, straight
pull-ups.
pull-ups.
Very
Right.
hard.
That's
a lot of
on
women
my
really
Instagram
can't
That
do
was on your
pull-ups.
Instagram account and your Facebook.
I force all my female clients to be able to do at least a few pull-ups.
You should.
You
Anyone
have
should
to.
be able
You
to.
gotta be able to do a pull-up.
To at least pull your
I hit
body
a few
weight.
golf balls.
You're hitting 5,000 golf balls. Lance has decided. Oh, I didn't tell you about my plan. So here's what we're doing. You ready for it?
Ready.
1 month, and I want you to be honest with me.
Okay.
1 month. It's a combination of the Whole30 and the Paleo. It's
Okay.
time to get rid of all the processed junk in my life. Everything
Yes.
processes out. Okay. No dairy, no alcohol, no processed sugar, no legumes, no grains.
Okay.
You can have nuts, but no peanuts because it's a legume.
Raw nuts, or it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as there's not like palm oil in it. It's
Okay.
not like regular oil in it. And then everything has to be a single ingredient food.
Okay.
Right? Just one ingredient for everything. I'm not eating a piece of bread or a cracker or any of it. It's 1 month. And then I'm working out. I'm doing 4 or 5 short, like 20-minute hard body weight exercise workouts a week.
Okay.
One day is all stretching, and that'll be my 5 days.
Okay.
And there are going to be Tabatas and AMRAPs and like ascending, descending ladders. Just really hardcore stuff, but only
Right.
like 20 minutes. And that's it for 1 month. So I'm taking everything processed out of my diet. I'm only eating whole, real foods.
You're eating like my son. That's basically how I feed my child.
Really?
And that's how everybody should feed their child. But that's my
See, now I feel guilty because, well, Lance, you should really feel guilty. Lance took his 5-year-old to McDonald's.
Well, my son's
this morning.
5 and has never seen fast food. Doesn't even know any fast food places. Period.
We should introduce him to Alex.
Now, my son's autistic, but if he wasn't, it'd still be the same thing because I come from a family of obesity. So my son didn't even have sugar till he
Didn't
was
even
2
know
years
Charlie
old.
was going to bring this up today.
Yeah, my son hasn't. He didn't have sugar till he was 3, and I can't tell you the arguments I used to have with people. Oh, but he wants a cupcake. I'm like, you didn't ask for it. You're not missing it, so I'm not going to give it to him because it's unhealthy, and his whole family is overweight. My mother passed away from being overweight, so I have
Right.
pretty intense weight problems in my family.
Right.
So I'm very diligent about making sure that my son is healthy because I don't want him to have the fat curse, is what I call it, that I
Right.
have, that I battle with my weight my whole life, having to work out, lose weight. It's a nightmare. And a lot of it starts when they're small. If you give them the right habits, they're not going to crave that stuff. Now, my son, now I let him have cookies and stuff, but everything's organic. I try to stay away from, like, the processed stuff. So, like, if he has a cookie, it's an organic cookie. I'm not saying that it's super healthy. It's still sugar, but he is 5 years old.
Right.
And he has enough issues socially. I don't want to make him the kid that can't have things when there's a birthday party or something, because I think the social component's more important than the diet component in that
Smart.
circumstance.
Yep.
But I'm not going to just give it to him at will because it just doesn't make sense.
How do you navigate Halloween?
Well, I let him have a Kit Kat, like a couple of candies yesterday, but he's not like a glutton where he wants a ton of it, to be honest with you. He likes ice cream, he likes that kind of stuff. So,
Kids, it's like they love
so I
ice
give him, he has goat's milk ice cream, which is healthier, and it actually tastes really good, I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
And he loves it, so, it's easier to digest, it's better for kids, it's better for people in general. Goat's milk is a little closer to human milk, but again, milk in general is not my favorite thing because it's pro-inflammatory and causes mucus. So,
but is there the same amount of protein and vitamin D in goat milk?
There is. It's a little bit different. Vitamin D, I believe, is added anyway. It's not naturally occurring.
Yeah.
As far as I know, But to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But your next guest can talk about that because that's where I learned all that stuff from.
Who's my next guest?
Dr. Anesta.
Charlie knows more than I do. Tell me about Dr. Anesta.
Dr. Anesta is one of the guys who trained me. He's a chiropractor, acupuncturist. I worked with him for many years. He's one of my mentors and teachers. And guy is smarter than smart. I can't even begin to explain to you.
Like, tell me what I should ask him.
You could pretty much ask him anything. He knows everything, actually.
Really?
It's amazing.
We're going to interview the guy that knows.
He knows
everything
because not only is he a doctor.
And his name is not Lance.
He was a strength and conditioning. He was a trainer before, so he gets the whole fitness component. And as you know, I do expert witness work. I consult with him on things I'm not certain of. If there's anything I need to research, because he's a textbook.
Yeah.
So it's very helpful to have a human textbook.
Oh my gosh, he's a human textbook, Lance.
It's awesome.
We need a human textbook.
We need it. Like,
that's my human textbook.
If he was the Encyclopedia Britannica, he'd be like, R or something. He'd have his own letter.
Yeah, he would.
He
might have his own couple of letters.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So I learned a lot of stuff from working with doctors, and like Dr. Anesta, who's also a personal friend of mine, which makes it even better because he teaches me all the stuff and I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, really.
And the best part is I get to send my clients to him that I can't figure out what's wrong with them, and he fixes them for me, and then he tells me how to reinforce what he does, and we have great success.
So I should tell him all my problems?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He could probably only help you with half of them.
Okay, that's okay. You're hilarious. You're hilarious.
All right.
When are we gonna work out? We gotta work out sometime.
Well, you were too early for me. I'm allergic to the morning.
Yeah. One time I think I called you at or texted you at 10:30. You're like, whoa, whoa.
Right.
Is it even morning yet?
I'm
You
nighttime
get like
guy,
the
Lance.
2:30 in the morning
you.
texts from Charlie.
Well, then you get the how
And
early?
then 2 hours later, it's
You get
Jenna.
the-
Hi.
text
I can
from
text you
Lance.
then because you're about getting up.
Yes,
Then, so.
absolutely.
Lance, why are you so tired?
Lance, why are you so tired? Why are you
don't
burning
know.
it at both ends?
Yeah, I don't know.
I always love having you on. I love what you do. I love what you stand for. I love how well read and well educated everyone that works for you is. I think it's always super important. And I'm excited to talk to the good doctor.
Yeah, he's great, and like I said, he's helped me with my clients. He comes in and trains my staff with me. So I know you've had a couple of my staff on here. I have a variety of trainers. So I have my entry-level trainers that just started in the last year or so, and then I have my guys that are more on my level. The entry-level trainers that I have, what's funny, I say entry-level, if they were to work at any other big gym, they'd be the top trainer. They have degrees, most of my trainers have more credentials than I do. I just have the most experience, to be honest with you. And I've done a lot of research to learn everything that I've learned, because a lot of the stuff in the fitness industry is from magazines, from meatheads in the gym. There's no science. And then when you do have science, you have the nerd that sits behind the desk that never lifted a weight in his life.
Right.
So that's the other extreme. So you really got to find that middle ground.
That was the extreme that Charlie found when I went to be evaluated.
Gotcha.
See,
Who's the guy who never did anything?
Lance couldn't fit in the gym. We
Yeah.
had to open the door wide.
Sure.
Sideways.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yep, that was him. I butter him up, get him. He was tremendous.
Perfect.
Guns. So the goal is just for us to educate people, and that's why I do this, because I want to help people. And as you know, I started doing expert witness work. That's a whole other way to help people getting injured from trainers. You wouldn't believe the cases I've worked on and things I've seen that trainers have done to people, and changed their life in not a good way. I worked on a case which it's public, so I can say it, against Equinox in Greenwich, and the guy had a stroke, is paralyzed now. So got $10.4 million, but I wouldn't want that money.
Right.
The guy's got 46 years old, and he's paralyzed on the side.
Because of something a trainer
Because a
did?
trainer gave him a stroke. And
Really?
they denied it. We went to trial. It was a whole big thing, and they lost. So
He overtrained him?
He overtrained him. The guy said he didn't feel good. He was dizzy, and the trainer kept pushing him, and the guy had a stroke.
Oh.
So the guy was a doctor, lost his practice,
Oh.
lost his seat in the hospital. So forget about all the family stuff, all the money he lost, all the time he went to school. Now he could barely practice. So it was a shame, and I worked very hard on that case, because they were not seeing their fault.
Right.
They brought in experts from all over the place to testify against me. It didn't work out for them. They spent a lot of money on nonsense. I told them from the beginning that this case was a lost cause because it was just so obvious what was wrong. But, you know, these fitness, they get away with it.
Yeah.
They get away with it because they got big money, and it's very expensive to sue these companies. But my lawyer took a shot. You know, I guess she had some money behind her because it cost her at least, you know, 6 figures to try the case.
Wow.
You know, and if you lose, you get nothing.
Yeah.
So you got to pay all that money. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but the reason I do the expert work is because it's going to create change. Lawsuits will create change. There's no regulation in the fitness industry, and that's a big problem. People don't know what they're getting into when they get a trainer. They think they're hiring someone knowledgeable, and probably 60% of the time they're hiring someone who's just a good test taker.
Wow.
And it's scary. It's very scary. You know, and people don't know that. And they get, I've worked on dozens of cases, strokes, seizures. I mean, the things that have happened to people. I had one guy who was almost completely paralyzed, broke his neck with a trainer. I mean, I could go on and on. It's terrible.
Wow.
Absolutely terrible. And we're here to help people, and that's, you know, that's the problem. And it makes, you know, people like us look bad that actually care.
Right.
You know, because a very small segment of the industry actually cares because it's money driven. It's all sales driven. It's
Sure.
not knowledge driven.
Right.
That's a problem, in my opinion, at least.
Wow. All right. Well, tell me how people can find the arena or contact you from the arena.
So we're in Westchester Avenue in White Plains, 1133. We're in a big corporate park. We have 2 floors. So we're 2 minutes off of the Hutchinson River Parkway, off of 95. We're right next to everything.
What's your website?
The website is thearenafitness.fit.com, I believe. We just changed it.
Nice.
So I'm glad Lance knew that because my last employee on here gave the wrong website.
Get the wrong website.
So,
amazing.
Well,
you got the right guy behind you here with Lance. Are you gonna? You should stick around as we talk to the good doctor.
Yeah, I want to see.
In case I don't ask the right question.
You can ask him whatever you want.
Yeah. The arena.fit, not the arenafitness.fit.
It's
The arenafitness. Just go with the
arenafitness.com.
You don't need to go to the lawsuit.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
Let's see. I think I would know.
And your kid was Thor for Halloween.
He was Thor. What about your guy?
She was the pink lady from Greece.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the baby didn't want to get into her costume.
Wasn't having it?
No, she wanted no part of it.
All right.
So we let it go. But they both had the same costume, so they would have. If it was not one, it was just double. So it was cute.
That's cool. As
Awesome.
long as you guys had a good time.
We had a good time. We made it work. Okay, we're gonna take a break. Come back or hang out and chill out and watch us talk to your guy.
Yeah, I'll hang out.
Our guy, our next guest.
This camera stays live.
You're not gonna believe this. I'm actually sweating. I'm actually super hot.
You know what? I thought it was gonna be cold.